viewers, and welcome to our program where we talk about issues that happen in the society. And today we are going to focus on the elderly people in the community. And with me is a guest from Larvie Foundation. I would like to give him an opportunity to introduce himself to us and tell us more about the elderly. What triggered him to be so much involved with the elderly people in the community. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Lily. My name is Tom Okech. I work with the Larvie Foundation. Larvie is French for life, and the organization deals mainly on the welfare of older persons. Older persons in our case are those persons 60 years and above. Those are the ones that we work with. And then most of them that we work with are the vulnerable older persons. The older persons who are well off and don't need any help, so they take care of themselves. But the ones that we deal with are those who are vulnerable in one way or the other. Yes.
And why the elderly people?
The elderly people, because we identified a need or a gap in their lives that was not being tackled at the time that we identified, and we decided to come in, intervene, and try and address the issues that pertain to this or affect these elder people.
And what are some of these issues that, specific issues that you saw there's a big gap for you to step in and start this organization?
At the beginning, I did not set out to go and look for older persons. I was doing a program for vulnerable children, and as I was following up on the vulnerable children, to where they live and to see who they live with and who are taking care of them, their guardians, then I realized that quite a number of them lived with the older people, maybe their grandparents or step-grandparents or some old people, and it caught my attention because you'd go to these places and you ask the older people, how do you earn a living so that you are able to take care of these kids? Why are you with these kids? Where are their parents? So most of the parents of the kids, we got to understand, died maybe from HIV and AIDS or other illnesses, or some just took off and disappeared and left the kids with the older persons. And then this older person will tell you they don't work, they don't do business, they don't earn, but they live and they have the dependents. So it was interesting that there could be people who don't work, don't earn, don't do business, but they can even afford to take care of some dependents. And that's how we began, by bringing them together, those who lived with the children, these older people who lived with children. We brought them together just to have them share. As we were trying to find best ways of dealing with these children, it caught us that even the older persons had even more needs, and they were neglected at that point because nobody was talking about them. Nobody was taking care of them. Nobody was thinking they needed attention. And if you spoke to people at that time, and even today, a lot of people feel that older persons have done their part. They're just waiting to die. So the only thing they need, they may just need some little food to take them day by day. Nobody wants their opinion. Nobody wants to consult them. Even those who have families, even the family setups, there is great negligence. So these days, the older people don't have anyone to tell stories like they used to tell stories like a long time ago. This used to happen. The youth are all on WhatsApp, Facebook, they're online, so they don't have time for these older people telling them stories.
Does it mean that it also affects the old people now that they don't have people to talk to and tell them the stories they could have? Exactly.
Majority of them are lonely. And even those who have food, the cases, the extreme cases of those who don't even have food, can't get Medicare, but then even for those who even have food and even live in good houses and in good homes, they still suffer loneliness. Yeah, because they have no people to talk to, nobody wants to listen to them. nobody consults them. So when we brought them together, we identified the priority areas that we thought we needed to address. And so that brought us to have, made us identify the thematic areas that we're dealing with. So we are dealing in feeding, basic health care, shelter improvement and relocation. In shelter improvement, we improve the shelters where they live, where they are. In relocation, we relocate those who are stranded in cities. There are many older persons who are stranded in cities. They came to cities when they were young, they were working, they were agile, going about, but then age caught up with them, and they do not have resources to be able to relocate themselves. That is for those who have homes. So there are those, like in Kenya, there are those who have rural homes. Majority of who have rural homes. So there are those older people who have their rural homes, but even as much as the families will want to take them back, you will realize that the families back there are very poor, cannot even put up a structure for them to live in. And with the traditions all over, they may not even be able to go into anybody's house. Maybe they are old, the traditions don't allow them to go into any other person's house. They have to build their own houses. Nobody wants to do so. In relocation, we look for funds to just go and put structures for them where they can live. There are a number of them that don't have homes to go to. Maybe their wives married somewhere. There were disagreements and they were thrown out where the husband died and everything was taken away from them, and they don't have anywhere to go back to. Those ones are completely stranded, and those are the ones that we look for homes. And we're even thinking of our long-term program is to build homes for this class of people who don't have anywhere else to go, so that they can be housed in homes in their last days. We also have home-based care program, where we visit them in the homes where they live. In the home-based care, we also distribute food. When we visit, we help them to wash clothing, we clean their houses, and basically just talk to them, chat to them, give them a chance to talk, an ear to, so that they can speak. It gives them hope, because when you go consulting them, they feel that, okay, at least there's some people who still may want to listen to my ideas. And then we have a program on micro-learning and entrepreneurship. In this, we identify those who have some strength, those who can still do some little businesses. Then they would be able to sell mboga, charcoal, they would anything that they can do, especially if they did some business when they were young and they have an idea how it runs. So we would encourage them to just do what they know how to do. So this keeps them both fit, not to feel so lonely, and then to have something to do, and they'll be able to earn something, even if it is little, but they can earn something that they can control. They have the money, even if it's 100 shillings, they're able to control. They can decide, this 100 shillings, I want to use 20 for this, 50 for this. So that is, those are the main programs that we do. But we also, since we have older persons who are affected by disabilities, so we have a disability program where we work with the older persons. We call it age and disability. So we have that program. Then children that live with older people that initially brought us to these older people are also an issue in our program, because these older people still live with children, and if you give an older person food to go and eat, sometimes they don't eat, they go and give these kids. So it affects our program, because the person we are trying to feed doesn't feed anyway. They still give the food to those children. So we have a program for children that live with older persons. So those are the main things we do for the older people. And we are present in Nairobi. That's here, Kibera, the group that you've met. We are in 8 counties across the country. We are in Kajiado, we are in West Pokot, we are in Turkana, we are in Trans Nzoia, Taita Taveta, Murang'a, and Kisumu. So we have presence in those counties. God willing, we will spread out to other counties, because anybody who hears the story would say, oh, why don't you come to our county? There are many older persons who are vulnerable, who are neglected, why don't you come to our place? But then some resources don't allow, but slowly by slowly we'll be able to spread out. And the main thing we do is also to advocate for people to realize the plight of older persons. So we don't have to go everywhere. We just need to create advocates who will move, who can start these programs everywhere else. And even in families, we just need family members to realize that these older persons need care, and so that we can have people even within the families that take care of them. Like those who have problems in mobility, some of them don't have people who can take them from place to place. Sometimes they can be moved from the house to the field or outside there on the veranda to feel some sunlight. But then they forget that the old person had been removed and is outside. Even when it's raining, nobody remembers that it's raining on that older person, because nobody is directly in charge of this. So we encourage people to be able, even it's not easy just to take care of an older person, especially if you're young and you want to go out and also try to fend for your life, follow up on your career. It's a bit difficult. But then if it's a family of 2, 3, then people can say, okay, today you do this, you take care of the older person today, tomorrow somebody else will come and do this, so that we can have families, the family, the system, the societal systems working for older persons. Yes.
Now that you've taken some time working with the older persons, what are some of the reasons as to why, the major reasons as to why they are being neglected?
Majority of people neglect older persons without knowing they neglect them. Yes. When they, like many of them were heads of families, during their time they were heads of families. Then when they change and they start needing care, a lot of people don't realize that they now need care because they used to take care of themselves. So it takes people a long time before they realize these people actually need care. Because they can sit there, they still speak, they still do work, so people just go about their business without realizing these people need care. Even if they're sick and they can't move around, people don't realize they need to go places. They also want to see things happening. They also want to listen to politics. They want to know who is going to win, if it's NASA or Jubilee. They also want to talk about these things. But then people think they are done and they don't need to talk about these things. Their time is over. And even when it comes to Medicare, if the family has less resources, a child is sick and an older person is sick, almost 100% of the time, the child will be taken to hospital and the older person will be neglected. Which people, anybody would argue, yes, so what do you think should happen? Would you want them to leave the child and take the older person to hospital? It's a very difficult subject. Yeah, because that's how people argue. They say, oh yeah, but if we can't treat them both, we'll treat the child. Because there's a feeling this one, even if they die, they have lived enough. So it doesn't matter much. The neglect is through not knowing what to do, and the other one is by poverty. Poverty is another major thing, because some people are poor, they can't manage, they can't even feed themselves. So feeding that older person is an extra burden that they cannot afford. So some people, it's just about poverty. Yeah.
Let's take a short break. We'll be right back after a short while. Don't go far.
Tunde kula pesa, 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 pesa. Tunde kula pesa, 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 pesa. Cuba, gun away, baby, one for me, one for me. खबर है कि तेरा हीरो इधर है, तेरा ध्यान किधर है, ये तेरा हीरो इधर है, तेरा ध्यान किधर है, ये तेरा हीरो इधर है.
This is your show. We talk about career planning and development.
People worship entrepreneurship. You look at entrepreneurs, you see them driving good cars, but it's not as easy as that.
It's very prudent not to postpone your dreams. If you believe in something, go for it.
They say 90% of opportunities happen because of just showing up. Just showing up, period. If it's a tender that you're looking for, just show up, yes?
There are millions of ideas out there. The ones that do and make an effort with the little resource that you have, with the empty pockets that you have. What can you do?
Welcome back, and before we went for a short break, we were discussing about the funds that are being given to the persons who are elderly in the society. Now, we observed that it's not effective because of maybe corruption, and as you said earlier, what are some of the things that should be improved to enable these people who are of age to be able to enjoy these funds?
The budget line needs to be increased because the budget is very small, so it reaches just a few of them. Although this is something that we have tried to speak to the ministry that is concerned, and they also say they have also communicated to Treasury, but the issue is that we cannot get, rather the budget cannot be enough for them, but it will be increased slowly by slowly. So one is that the budget should be increased, because I believe we can, if we consider it important, we can get more money on that. Then the other thing is on the identification, because there are those very, very needy older persons who should actually be getting these funds, but they don't get. So the process of identification, the issues of people who are concerned to identify older persons in one area, would even go and bring people they know from other areas and register them in this region where they don't belong, just because they have an upper hand. So that corruption is happening. At payment, there are areas where these older persons are asked to give back some of this little money that they get, so that they will get again, or their names will be removed from the register. So there are those challenges, and the ministry knows, the government knows them. There are things we have communicated. We hope they are being addressed. And then if the government could include the issue of older persons in almost in departments like they have done with youth, like in every government department, then there must be something for the youth. They should also do something like that for the older persons, that in every government department there is some consideration for older persons. That would help a lot, so that everybody would be awakened to the plight of older persons. Then we would be able to address, even if they will not be receiving the direct stipend, but then the awakening would help a lot of people who may be able to help one or two older persons in their own ways to be able to support them. Yes, and then okay, that is on funding. Something just came to my mind when I was saying that, about areas where there are communities that accuse older persons of being witches, and even kill them. And it is a wonder that somebody who was ahead of a family and even managed to take to school children, and children are now educated, then put on around and then say, now because you are old, you are a witch, and you don't need to live in this community anymore. So this is happening in some parts of this country, and it is very wrong because most of the time it is not true. But people relate aging to witchcraft, which is not right. So this is an area that the government needs to address, because how many homes does the government of Kenya have for older persons? I think we only have one. The second one is now being mooted, but we need like a home in every county in this country for older persons who are vulnerable, where someone where they can run just in case. Yeah, we need that, so that people can have somewhere to go. Families can be awakened. Awareness about the plight of older person should be out there. The government should not hide it like older person are not suffering, because that's a problem with our government. They like hiding things until they get to crisis situations. They will hide people who are hungry until they start dying, and then they come out and accept. But these are things that can be addressed early enough. The plight of older persons, if it can be addressed early enough, it would help. And you see, the country is aging. We are getting more older persons than the young. That balance, it will come a time when we'll be having more older persons. And how will you deal with them if you don't start now addressing their issues? Yeah, so if we don't take care of that soon enough, then it will get to a point when we will not be able to address the issues. It will be a crisis. Why do we wait for crisis? We need to start addressing these things early enough.
The lady, Dorothy Onyango, is talking about the challenges that the older persons go through, and also her personally. Maybe if you can help us know, how should the society handle people who are of age? Or how, in terms of their attitude, how should they rectify it in order to accommodate the persons of age?
I'll simply repeat that the society needs to be awakened, because we've done this work for some time, and what we realize, whenever we go out, even to neighborhoods, even into families, what we realize is that people are not awakened to the plight of older persons. People don't think they need care. And people are too busy taking care of their own selves that they don't actually remember this older person needs to be taken care of. People are running after children. People want to take their children to school, and they were running after their teenagers, teenage boys and girls. And by the time they are done with this and they want to look at the older persons, they would have suffered so much. So if society or families could find a way of having older people to be part of what their daily business, this would help a lot, because the government might never get to a point that they can address all the issues of older persons. They might never. That's a bit difficult. There are too many, and the government will take ages to be able to come to that point where they can address the issues of older persons. They are not even address the issues of children, not education, not health, not what. So for them to get to a point where they can address the issues of older persons adequately will be a long time to come. It is better for the families themselves to be awakened, so that they can start it at the family level, so that some of these things can be addressed at the family level, and there's some to come to the society, the outer society, to address.
What about their rights? Have they been, have they been given their rights?
No. Their rights, I would say, in the larger percentage, no. They're not getting their rights, because like anybody else that lives in Kenya, the Constitution says that people should get adequate food of good quality, health care, they should have good shelter. No, they are not getting. A lot of them sleep outside. Yeah, so they're not getting.
Maybe as we wind up the program, I would like to give you an opportunity to speak, maybe to shed more lights a little bit. The final word you can tell the Wananchi about the elder person as we wind up.
Yeah, what I may want to tell the public is that older persons are everywhere. Wherever you are, there's an older person, maybe at your neighborhood, next door, wherever you're walking. If you're driving across, you will see them somewhere. I would only want to appeal to everybody out there that please notice these older persons and note that they have needs and they need care and need to be spoken to. Listen to them, and it will help them and also help us, because they're custodians of our cultures, these older persons. So we need to give them space to be able to speak. And there are organizations out there that also work with older persons. If you can visit them, like us, Larvie Foundation, you can go on the internet, just find Larvie Foundation, speak to us. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we have a website. Just speak to us so that you can learn more. If you want to get involved in the support for older persons, speak to us. Then we will be able to help our society. And as our society grows, ages on, then we will be able to address some of these issues before they get to crisis levels.
Thank you so much. That has been the CEO of Larvie Foundation, who deals with the elderly people who are of age. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Lily Shivoko. Until we meet next time, have a nice time.